Hi guys, this is me Muhammad Ala and I am so excited for this video. Basically, you have seen the title correct and you can build any kind of chatbot after watching this video. So trust me, I have been working from the last couple of months in this chatbot development domain and I built multiple chatbots using the ChatGPT and open source LLM and I made thousands of dollars with that. Trust me on that. And I think this is the right time to learn these skills, and definitely it is going to the boom in the next future days, future years. Trust me. So you can build any kind of chatbot, whether it's related to the e-commerce domain where you can ask any question and it will give you suggestions for the products. It can be related to the health sector, medical sector, where you can ask related questions related to the health domain. It can be the hotels related, where you can ask for the hotels and it gives you the suggestions. It can be the real estate sector, where you can ask any real estate price or anything, it gives you the suggestions. And it can be a budget planner chatbot. It can be a FAQs, just like it is trained on some company data. It can be an investment planner chatbot, document question answering chatbot. So there are many multiple ways to build different kind of chatbot, trust me. So with the rise of ChatGPT and open source LLM, and I think this is the right time to learn this hot skill, and this will definitely take you to the high level. So whatever chatbots I built before, I definitely took from different international clients. I worked with different people and I know what kind of market is and what kind of people are asking for the chatbots. And in this whole video, I'm going to teach you that which is the right skills to learn. And trust me, this is just a few tricks that I'm going to teach you. After learning that, you can build all those chatbots that I just showed you. I'm not going to build all chatbots that I just showed you, but trust me, after watching this video completely, you can make them all. I'm going to tell you every step, like how I build each chatbot, and I will just build one or two chatbot for you, and rest you will tell me at the end, yes, I can make that, I can make that. And not just that, not just only you develop this, after that I will also teach you how you can deploy that into the AWS server or maybe on the digital ocean. So basically it's the same thing and not a big difference. So once you will learn these things, then you can even deploy it, connect with the front-end development. So let's talk about like who can learn this. So what are some prerequisites? Trust me, if you have a basic knowledge of Python, HTML and CSS, it's enough. Nothing is more necessary, believe me. And if you don't have the Python knowledge, don't have the HTML knowledge, CSS, don't worry, I'm going to tell you that what I'm using. And I'm planning to use ChatGPT to generate a bunch of code, and I'm going to tell you, you will see everything is going to be automatic, not much lines of code. So yeah, I think, and not just that, at the end of the video I will also going to give you some bonus things, like I will tell you, not you can also build some other chatbots, like which is not a kind of conversational but for other stuff. I will tell you that, like for the ad tech sector, like if you want to generate content generation things, so for prompt engineering I will teach you that as well. So this is going to be the all-in-one video for related to the chatbot development, and believe me, after watching this video you don't need to watch any other video for chatbot development, trust me on that. So I think let's jump into the screen and watch, like see like how to code things, how to process things. Once you will learn that, then you can even implement. If you are a PhD student, master student, like if you are really wanted to show your professor some working chatbot, you can even customize that. So I think let's jump into the screen and let's see how to code it. So now we are on our screen, and just quickly create a new folder. Right now I already created and load into your editor. So right now I'm using VS Code and here is it. So just open your terminal, just right click, just click here and click on new terminal. So after that, what you need to do is create a new file, let's say app.py, any name. So I am assuming that you already installed Python into your system. You can use any Python 3.9, 3.10. Okay. So before jumping to the code, the first thing is to create a dataset. So I went to the ChatGPT and I already created a dataset. I asked it to create a data for different e-commerce products. Okay, so my plan is that first I will teach you how you can create an e-commerce chatbot, right? So once you will learn it, then at the end you can build any chatbot. Yes, okay. So I'm here on ChatGPT. So I just paused this command and it generated for me different 20 products. So but I already did last time. I already created another data set basically, and just like this. So I already have that. Here it is. So here is the data, and these are all the products I last time created. Maybe when you will create, you will see something different. So it doesn't matter, it's a dummy data. And but just assume that this is the data present in some e-commerce store, just like you use Amazon or any other e-commerce store, Alibaba. And so yeah, just assume that you have, because I'm not going to save it in any database. I'm just put that data in a Word document and then created a PDF of it. Okay, so you can easily do that. And later on I will also tell you how you can use databases and all stuff. So at the end you're going to do this stuff basically. So just assume you pull the data from your database or anywhere, and here is the complete data. So and I also pass some instruction in the writing. When I was writing in a Word document, I passed these instructions, like what does mean by small and mean large, like these notations. So it's just for the ChatGPT or for the chatbot to understand better about the data. So this is all about the data, and after that I uploaded that data into a Firebase storage. So if you don't know about Firebase, leave it, no problem. You can upload in any cloud storage. So that basically you just need this URL at the end. This is all needed. So just we need that URL of that PDF, and so that we can use in our code editor and load our PDF document completely. You can upload it anywhere. I didn't test it on Google Drive, but let me know if it works or not if you upload on Google Drive and then create a public link and then try to use it. Otherwise you can upload anywhere, and then you just need this URL, right? So before writing the code, this is a very important step to learn. After learning this, then you will be able to understand the code lines and how code works. It will become so simple. So just understand few concepts, like what are vector stores, what are embeddings, what is similarity search, what are chunks. So understand this concept. So how the chatbot work is basically, so we have a question that the user asked. This is a prompt basically. So this basically sent to our ChatGPT, and it will then tell us the answer. So but how the LLM, let's say it can be any LLM, maybe any open source LLM, Llama 2, or maybe ChatGPT. So how actually that LLM understand our data basically? So it is a very important step. So let's say we have let's say 100 pages of this. Let's say we have a very big data. So do we need to pass our complete data to ChatGPT to answer our question? No, this is not a good approach. Even it is not possible, because ChatGPT will never accept that huge data. So to do that, we convert our data into a vector store, or into embeddings basically. And what are embeddings? Okay, I will tell you. We convert our textual data into the embeddings and then store that embedding somewhere in some database. Okay, so what happens is, embeddings are basically, let me tell you, embeddings are basically, you can say, a numerical representation of some text data. As you know, the computers doesn't understand this thing. Like, let's say computer doesn't know that what is mean by size, what is mean by name, it doesn't understand. But in the background, these stores in numerical format, then the computer can be able to understand it better. So just assume, I'm not going to tell you embeddings in technical terms, but I'm telling you in general like how it works. So in the backend, we need to convert our data into the embeddings and store them into some database. Okay, there are some normal databases, MongoDB and all stuff. But for storing the embeddings, which is some kind of a numerical representation of the textual data, we need a vector store. Vector store handles that embeddings and store in its database. Basically, it's a database for storing embeddings. Okay. And so there are multiple kind of vector stores. Let's say FAISS and Chroma. So there are many. There are even Cloud One, even Pinecone. We will talk about that. But in this video, I'm going to use Chroma, and for every other vector store, it's the same thingy. Okay, so let's see the flow again. Let's say, and there is another concept of the chunks. Basically, chunks are very important. Just assume you have this complete data. Okay, how it works is this complete data is converted into the chunks. All right, and this complete data is going to convert it into the chunks. Why chunks? Because we are not going to send to our ChatGPT our complete data. We are going to send ChatGPT only the specific format of data, which is like only the relevant data which it should answer. Let's say I asked to chatbot like, do you have the man shirt? Okay, so in the backend what it will happen is the ChatGPT searches only those embeddings where the man shirt kind of chunks are present. So storing a data in the form of chunks is so important, because let's say I just give you an example. Let's say you have 100 different pages of this data, let's say. So you are not going to post this completely. So how it works, embeddings and vector store works is they basically store this whole data in a kind of chunks. Let's say these 2-3 paragraphs in one chunk, like this data in one chunk, this data in one chunk, and something like that. It keeps storing in the form of chunks. So once the user will ask any question, so this question will send directly to the vector store to match the embeddings, right? And in the background, the ChatGPT searches in this vector store the relevant embeddings. Okay, so those embeddings which are directly matches with that chunk. And once it get that embeddings, let's say the user asks, do you have man shirt? So in the background, let's say up to this point this chunk matches. So this chunk embeddings, like its numerical representation, will be sent to the LLM, means the relevant chunks will be sent to the LLM, and then the ChatGPT process and tries to find the perfect answer and send us back that answer. So it's amazing. I know maybe it seems complex to you, but I really tried to explain you very briefly and in a very descriptive manner. So basically, let's summarize again. The user will ask a question, but before asking, we already have our vector store, and we stored our complete data in our vector store in the form of chunks. All right, so whenever a user asks question, it will went to our vector store, it will match the relevant chunks. Okay, and it pick up that chunk and then send that chunk to the LLM, and LLM will only process that chunk. We are not going to send our complete data to LLM. So there is another benefit of this using chunks and embeddings. So what is that benefit? The benefit is that it's all because of the tokens. You know, the ChatGPT charges based on the tokens. So like the more input data you will send to it, and the more longer response it will send you back, based on that they charge you. But if you only send a few chunks to the LLM, so you will also going to reduce like 1/4 of your cost for that. And so only the relevant data is going to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is only processing that data, and based on that it is replying back, and then we can use that response anywhere in front-end application and all stuff. So this is the whole concept: asking a question, finding a similar chunk in the vector store, sending that chunk to our LLM will process it and give us the answer. So I think it's enough. So let's jump into the code. So now it's time to see the code. Right now you can see I imported the OS module and this OpenAI embeddings. By the way, to use these all modules, all these libraries, you need to install these things using this command pip install all these things. I will provide you that, and so that you can directly paste into your terminal, just like copy it, something like that, paste it here and hit enter. I already installed it, so I'm not going to do it. So after that, basically this is the Langchain embeddings. So these are the embeddings provided by OpenAI, so it's available in Langchain. So yeah, this is the Langchain. So I forgot to give you introduction about the Langchain, I think. So Langchain basically helps us to use these embeddings, use different vector stores, and this also help us to split our data into different kind of chunks. Loading the data, PDF data, like to load that data, it helps a lot in these manners. So this is the benefit of Langchain. We can connect our LLM with vector stores, convert our data into the chunks, and using the any LLM embeddings, which helps us to basically pick the relevant chunk from the data and then send that chunk to the LLM directly, so that LLM can process it instead of sending the whole data. So this is the whole idea. And this is the NLTK library. This is just for, we just download the punctuations of English language and then temp file and request. I will talk about that. So this is a function that I wrote. Basically not I wrote, you can ask to ChatGPT that how to load a PDF content using the URL. So means we have this URL of our product, of our PDF file, and I need this whole textual information, all this text in this data. So how can I do that? You can ask to ChatGPT, but here is the code. I will provide you that. So I also generated from ChatGPT. So I just need to pass a URL to this function, and it will give me all the text in that PDF. So it's so simple. It uses request library to get the data and the response, and it created a temporary file in the backend, and then that temporary file, like I did it through read binary method, and based on that I use this Langchain function unstructured PDF loader, and I passed that to this function, and it loaded a data for me. At the end I close this temp file. It's a temporary file which is just created for a few seconds while downloading. So then I return that loaded text, and then I can use it. So yeah, let's try this. So this is a function load PDF from URL. So you can say that load PDF from you can pass it the URL basically. So right now in my case I have this URL, and I will pass it. So whatever the response will come, I need to save it some variable. Let's say loaded docs, let's say anything you can say. So okay, and then at the end I can print it, loaded docs. So let's save it and just try to run it, Python app.py. So the first time it will take a moment to load these libraries. So you will get some error like Langchain is undefined or anything, so you need to install using these things. So yeah, I will tell you I need these Flask and these things. So just give it a moment please. So you can see we successfully loaded our data, like we converted the data into a text format. It is the same thing. Hi, I have a list of e-commerce products. So this is all data. So now we have our data. There is one solution to make this chatbot, is like just pass that whole data to ChatGPT directly and ask it a question like, do you have a smartphone? So it will still give you an answer, but the problem is you cannot pass this complete data. This will really increase your tokens, and this will charge you a lot. And also there is another thing, is that if you have a very big data, let's say you have a kind of 1,000 products, you cannot pass even at once. You have to convert that data into chunks, and you have to use OpenAI and any LLM embeddings which search the relevant chunk in the data and only send that chunk to the LLM for processing. I hope this makes sense to you. So now we have our data. It's time to convert our data into a proper chunks. Okay, so let's do that. So I already commented some code here. So first of all, you need to download some punctuations. It's not that much important. And now you need to go to your ChatGPT account and copy your API key. So it's so simple. Go to your settings and then copy that API key. It is important. Then we will be able to use their embeddings. So then we use this OpenAI embeddings function and then loaded the OpenAI embeddings. This will help to get us the relevant chunk from the data. So now we have it. So let's quickly write a code to convert our data to chunks first. This is very important. So to do that, there is a function. Let's say I will create a variable text splitter character text splitter, right? We already imported it. So here you need to define the chunk size. Let's say in my case I can say that, let's say 800 characters, or and there are many other like parameters of this. You can play with that, but these are not too much important. Main thing is that this chunk size. This means that what will be the size of each chunk. So like in this data, what will be the size of each chunk? I'm saying that each chunk should have 800 characters. Okay, you can make 100, 200, or up to you. You can play with that. Okay, so this is the time. So once we converted our data to it is just like we are just defining that function. Now next we need to call another function for that to convert it actually into the chunks. To do that, you need to copy text splitter dot split underscore documents, and then you need to pass our data, this one that we just loaded. We pass it to this, and then this will then this text splitter object will call this function split documents, and it will split our data into different chunks. So then we need to save that chunks in some another variable. So let's say this is the variable. So let's see after that what will be the output. Let's see, man. Text. So just comment it so that it will not be printed out. So let's save it and come back here and run it again. So here you go. Here is our chunked data, and if you can see, it starts from here, document, and this is a page content. And if you see, it's divided into many different chunks right now. Let's say I think it started from here, so it's a bit mess. I can't figure out. Let's say I think up to this point there is some one chunk completed. So you can see the another chunk started from here, document. I think I did a mistake previously. So it started from here, and same you can figure out at somewhere else as well. So yeah, you can see another chunk starts from here. So this is how it divided into different chunks. So we did successfully up to this point. Now we converted our data into the chunks, right? Go back to this diagram. We converted our data into chunks right now. Now it's time to save our data into this vector store, and also save the OpenAI embeddings into this vector store, so that OpenAI embeddings can go to that data and then pick the relevant chunk from here. So whenever I ask question, I send that a question to this vector store, OpenAI embedding pick that question, and based on that I try to find the relevant chunk, and then that relevant chunk will be sent to the OpenAI API key to process to their servers, and then their servers will process and send us back the response. I think it makes sense. So embedding part is the done. Now the next part is to storing our data into the chunks and into the vector store. Sorry, let me comment it, store data into vector store, and then you can say convert data into chunks. Okay, so for this we are going to use the Chroma vector store, and there are many other like FI, AWS, and there is Pinecone, which is cloud vector store. So we can use many, but for this video this is I think enough for building many chatbots, trust me. So to do that, just like let's say use this Chroma, create an object for this, and then from underscore documents, and then okay, so this function accepts two things. One is the chunked data. This is our chunk data, so let's make it kind of as multiple chunks. So chunk data, and then it also takes us this embeddings, which is the OpenAI embeddings. So this whole thing will then saved into our vector store, and in the next step we will save in our vector store. And for now, let's save in some variable. Let's say variable name is document search. Okay, and so after that we need to use this vector db qa. So this is needed for calling our what to say, this function is you can say vector dbqa module is really important to call our this vector store. Like we need to directly pass it, and then need to tell it that this is our embeddings, this is our vector store, and based on that, whatever we have any question, we need to pass it, and then this will basically process from vector store and pick the relevant chunk and then send back to the LLM servers. Okay, so it accepts the function from underscore chain underscore type, and in this we need to first specify which LLM we are going to use. We are going to use OpenAI, and we need to pass this chain type. So it's a different chain type, so it's not that much necessary, but you just need to do that. So, and after that, the next step you need to tell is like the vector store, you need to tell it. So basically this is our vector store, and where is our vector store? This is our vector store. Basically you can even name it vector store for better understanding. Vector store, pass a vector store here. So and then you need to also save this thing in some variable, right? So it can be any name that you can use. So let's say this is basically our complete chain. These are some, remove it. Okay, so what happened here is I picked up the text, the chunked data, and the embeddings OpenAI, and then stored that into the vector store named as chroma, and it's all saved in this vector store. And then I use this function which basically creates a chain in between. Chain means here like when I ask some question, so this function will handle everything. So this function will already know that the person is using the OpenAI LLM and his vector store is this vector store. So whenever I ask any question to then it follows the chain. It knows that this is the LLM and I need to search the chunk in this vector store and then send that chunk to the OpenAI servers for getting the response back. So this is whole scenario, right? So I hope you are understanding up to this point. So I think we are done now, and it's just the last step, which is just to run this chain. So let's ask any question to this. Let's say I will say that chain dot run. So this is the function used. So let's say I will ask any question for this. So exciting part starts from here. I can ask any question. Do you have man shirt? Let's ask this question because we are talking from last minutes. Do you have man shirt? So let's ask this. I think we need to print it. Let's save this response anyway. Let's say response variable and then print it, print response, save it, and then directly run it. So basically why it took time, because it load the libraries and then it also going to parse this data, like get the content from this and then divide into the chunks, store into the vector store. So all processes are going side by side, and at the end this is going to be done. So we will fix this once we will create our API. Okay, so let's wait for it. The answer is coming. See, our answer is here. We have a man shirt listed in our products. It is priced this, and the colors available are red, green, blue. It's the perfect answer, man. Perfect. You see, this is what it picked up. You can ask any further questions to it and it will do that. So I think this was the very exciting part, and this is the main brain of building any chatbot. Okay, this is all, trust me. And now we are going to build another, which is a kind of front end UI, where we will ask question from our website and pass it to it, and it will process it and we will get the response back. Okay, so but this is the main point here. If I summarize for you, like these are some Langchain for processing our LLM and vector stores. So we use this function for loading the content from our PDF, and then we use the OpenAI embeddings, and then first we converted our that data into the different chunks, and then we store that embeddings and chunks into our vector store, which is the chroma one here. And then what happened is that this function handles the complete chain, so we just need to tell that function that we are going to process this prompt, and it sent that prompt to this vector store, and this vector store has the embeddings of OpenAI picked the relevant chunk and sent to the ChatGPT servers. ChatGPT process it and give us the response back, and here we get the response and we printed it. So this is complete scenario, and this is how you can build any chatbot, trust me. And so this is the one approach. I will tell you even more robust approach later on, like because right now the chroma db is running in the RAM, it is running in your RAM. So means whatever this chunk data, like this complete vector store, this chunk data, it is storing into your RAM. It is not storing in your actual storage. So for that there are many cloud vector stores as well, like Pinecone, that you can use. So but for many intermediate basic chatbots there is no need, this will 100% work. But if you're really going to process a very big data, maybe millions of records or maybe lakhs of records, so I do recommend to move with that. But for you, if you are really going to build basics or even intermediate, this is perfectly work. So I think this is it, and you can directly, like basically change this data. Let's say in your case, let's say you have a hotels data set. Right now I have e-commerce products. Let's say you have a hotel data set, so you can just put that data here, and then your chatbot will be converted for the hotel stuff. So if you have a real estate data, just update that data and it will perform for that. So I hope this seems amazing to you. And so now this is it for this, and in the next next we are going to use the front end UI. We will build it quickly and build a simple page where we will call our API. And but before moving that, we need to create our API in the backend. I will tell you what is API. This helps to call our backend from our front end application, maybe web or mobile app. So we will create an API in Flask and Python Flask framework, and this API will help us to use this chatbot and from our website. Now it's time to move to our front-end app. We will build a very simple app front-end where we will interact with the chatbot and call our this code. So before that, first build a design of it. We directly go to ChatGPT. So I already gave something to ChatGPT, like generate for me a code, basically just like a simple chatbot, which I can use it. So this is the whole code it created for me. So what we need to do is just simply copy it and go here, create a new file here with the name, any name, let's say index.html. Just paste that code here, save it, right? So go to that folder where this is present. Let's say here it is. Just run it, double click on that. Whoa, so this is what the code it's generated, let's say. So here we can talk, hi, how are you doing? Just make sure that this is not a UI course. This is just a simple example to show you. So doesn't matter what's your front end app, it's a website, it can be mobile app, it can be a very beautiful UI. In our later videos we will definitely move to that, design a very beautiful interface, just like I showed you in the start of video, like how I build different beautiful UIs. So and then you can use this chatbot. So right now I asked some question, it is saying error fetching response. That's true because we did not create our database. Right now here we need to call our endpoint. So basically we need to create our API. What does API means? Like this is our front-end application, right? So I am assuming you have a little bit knowledge of HTML and CSS. It's just simple div commands, and this is a JavaScript code. So like whatever we input, it just send to our API, and then like this. So where it is, yeah, here you go. So it like we just directly pass our API, and it's so API is just kind of you can say a waiter kind in a restaurant. Let's say you go to a restaurant and ask a waiter to like give me that food. You just tell them the menu, so that like the waiter go and take the food and give it to you. So basically it's a kind of a waiter job, where in the front application we'll tell our API like this is my question, then that API will directly go to this our backend code, and then it will give that question, this one, to our chain, and our chain will process it and give us the response back. So this is how API works. But before that, we need to create the API here. So for this creating different APIs, there are different programming languages, like different frameworks. Right now we're using Python, so we are going to use some Python framework. It can be a Python Django or Python Flask. So right now I'm going to use Python Flask. It's going to be a simple one, not stuff. It's not a difficult. So for that, you just need to install this pip install Flask and Flask codes. This is used for deployment part, but you can install it. This will help later on. Okay, so just like here, you just need to import Flask from Flask, import Flask, and request. You also import the request module, and then that is it. Okay, and after that, you just need to create a new object here from Flask, and you just need to pass it a constructor here. So yeah, this is all we need, and at the end we just need to define it, nothing else. So just go to the end of your code, so here, and right now call your instructor, and then let's say if it is this, like when it will enter into the main code, then it should run our app on any port you can set here. Let's say I can run it on 8000 port. So that is it. You can also pass it a debug is equal to true, because whenever we save the code, it will automatically make the changes and rerun our server, so that we don't need to control C, stop our server and run it again. So it will automatically do that for us. Okay, now after that, we just need to create a simple endpoint. So how the endpoint will look like is, you can create an endpoint here. Let's say here you go, and for creating an endpoint, this is how we can create an endpoint in Flask. It's so simple, just pass it the root. Let's say you can type any root here, and methods is equal to, I will explain you what is all, don't worry, and any name here, and then click on. Okay, so here we are. So what happened is, let's say, let me just do that, return e maybe, or even print the error if some error comes in our code. I can even return the response here, testing that. So what is here basically, let's say someone will come here. Here basically, if I go back to our app, someone will ask any question. So in the backend, what we do is like this a code will run, like here our endpoint. So what is basically our endpoint is, let's discuss that first. So let me first comment this whole code above, like this all code, this, let's say, just comment it out, and just assume we have only this code right now, our Flask, our this app, and then this is our API. So if we call over this API, like if we just tell to the waiter that like give us this food which named is chat, so it will go and give us that food testing. So just assume that, and so that just save it, go here. So if you type here python app.py and just try to run it, or to run our Flask server, and let's see how it works. So yeah, our server is running. It is running on the port 8000, and this is our server URL 127.0. This is localhost, I hope you're aware of. So but this is our server endpoint. So basically you can say that this is our kitchen right now, this is our server, and based on that we will access our food chat. Our waiter comes and pick it up from here. So I know it's a weird example, but just a simple thing to understand you. So yeah, that this is it. Up till now our server is there. So right now, so like the problem is, if I come back to my here, let's say chatbot, let's say type hi, I'm not getting any response. Basically, the problem is I need to get the message. Right now, this is my message, and I need to send that message to my Flask server by this API endpoint, and then call this endpoint and I access this code, which is the testing. Just an example. So first of all, we will figure out this problem, like how we can send our this message from front end and access that message in our backend. Let's say the user if type hi, it the user typed in the front end app, so we need to get that message hi in our backend so that we can process this message and send to our chain, to our chat gpt to process that input text and give us the relevant answer, and then we send that back to print it here. So to do that, first of all, we need to set our API endpoint here. So what is our API? This is our kitchen, this is our server, and the food that we need to access is the chat, this one. And so the waiter will go here and then process this thing and then give us this food here, which is the testing, right? So right now I am here. So like basically I'm going, let's say just first quickly save it and then go back here, run it high. So even if I type, then nothing will come, error again, because still my message is going to my server, but I can't able to access it here. Okay, so to do that, the answer is simple. What you need to do is, uh, okay, we now write code by ourselves. We go to ChatGPT. I already did that basically. So this is our previous code. So here I asked to ChatGPT, like, this is my API endpoint, and I want that when someone sends some message from the front end app, then the backend Flask API should process it and send the response back to front end and display the message. So ChatGPT a little bit adjusted this API. We already done that because it just changed this our endpoint. We already changed our endpoint, and then it basically how this change our Flask API. This is how. So let's understand it line by line. So it just changed these line of code which is in the try block. Go here and just directly replace here. I am even telling you how you can use ChatGPT to take help in your productive work. Okay, so ChatGPT is saying you do not have. Oh, sorry, in my editor it is saying I didn't import a request module. I need to go here. I need to import this request, and I think there is another one which is JSON5. Okay, I also need to import from this JSON5 from Flask. Okay, now the error gone and the warning gone. So okay, this line, what this line does is, this line basically access the data from our front end side right now. So whatever we basically pass message here, this basically it parse it in the backend and give us in the data folder. So just try to print it out, data, and I just did that for console to look clear. So I can also print this user message. What will come here? So by the way, um, okay, just do that. User message, user message. Okay, I will just save it and see what will happen. Go here, refresh this page, type here hi, send. Still you are getting the error. So what's the reason is, so how we can debug that error basically. So for that basically we can ask to where you go. I think we did a mistake. If we just print it, yes. So right now we can't able to access our this data. Nothing is printed here in our console. So that is why in the backend the null value is going, like empty data is going, so it is printing error. So because it can't able to find this response. So to do that, I think we need to change our this code as well. Definitely ChatGPT did that for us. Maybe we did a mistake. Mm, yes, just like try to copy this function completely, this function, and see what was our mistake. Just try to replace that function, and also we need to update our this function. Sorry, API endpoint. Copy that and paste it, and then chat is the same. So just save it, and this is already saved. come up here, refresh it, type anything, hi, error fetching the response. To debug this, click on inspect and go to console. So what's the error? Okay, the error was is origin null is not allowed by access control origin. So basically this is a COPS issue. So this happens sometime because it not accept from front end side due to some server restrictions. We get this error. So to do that, to some browser restriction, a lot of stuff, to do that, that is why I ask you to install this Flask course. So just uncomment this code. If you didn't wrote it, then write it, and also uncomment that. Basically previously I was using, so I just commented just for you, just to tell you that how this problem can occur. So just save it. Now this problem should go on. And by the way, this is the same code that I copied, so even I can control Z, it's the same thing. There was not any difference. Okay, just go here, refresh this, hi. Okay, so now it means our backend server is understanding our request. Here you go. So right now something should be printed here. Okay, yes, data is printed, which is the message and hi. This is coming from the front end side. Okay, this line is doing, this is line is helping us to give this, and this line is helping us to like get this message key, like this value using this message key. This is a key and this is a value. If you know dictionaries, this is a key value pair. So based on this key I get the value, and user message I get exact word that the user typed, which is the hi. So now, and then at the end I like ChatGPT, like this is a dummy response, ChatGPT wrote this, and then this is a response going back. Okay, so let's say if I just comment this and then type here the a user message, this thing, so what will happen? Guess it. You guessed it right. This, whatever the user will type in front end side, he will get the response same as it is back. So just see, refresh this, type here hi, and he's also getting hi. Like type anything, so he's getting response back, it's true. So one thing is cleared, we are getting whatever the user is typing. Now it's time to give that message. We are really near to finish it. Like we just need to give that message to our this chain. All right, and our chain will process that user prompt and give us the response, and then we return that response back. Okay, there is one thing which is like, as you know, whenever we call something from front end side, it will call over this API slash chat, this one. So it means every time user call this API, the whole bunch of code will run. Okay, but in our case, we don't want to run the whole code basically. So let me uncomment this code. First of all, our previous code, uncomment that. You can use control question mark keys together. In Mac, you can type command and question mark key together to uncomment multiple code or uncomment it. So by the way, I uncommented the code, and here you can see. Okay, so here we have this function load PDF from user. So what this function does is like it extract the content from that PDF and give convert it into text. So we don't want that. Whenever some user call this API, and we will first extract this text, right, and then load the API key embeddings, and then convert our data to chunks, and then store in the vector store, right, and create a chain on top of it. No, not every time. We don't need to do that. We just need to do it once. Okay, so whatever the code, you really want to run it like again and again whenever the API calls, you just need to put it here. Otherwise rest of the code should be outside of that API. I hope you're understanding. So to do that, basically we just need to call these two lines. Actually, we just want to run our chain again and again. We just need to pass our input prompt to this, and it will give us a response back. So just cut it and like basically paste it here. And in the response section, like chain.run, here we need to pass the exact user message like this one. Also comment this code, we don't need this, we don't need this. So just to clean it up, just like delete that, also delete this. So right now we will print our response, and whatever the response is, we need to send the response back as well to front end side. So just try that out. If some error will come, then we will fix it. I hope no error should come. Just save it up and our server will be restarted. It's all because of this debug is equal to true. Okay, so it is restarting it. Just give it a moment because now it is loading everything. It is extracting the text from the PDF and converting to chunks and storing in vector. So I think our server is running. Now we can go back, refresh it, ask anything. Hi, how are you doing? Start your conversation from here. Hi there, I am doing well. How can I help you? It's amazing. So this is the fun part, and you can see response is also printed here. Hi there, I am doing well. How can I help you? And same response in going back to front end. So you can see it's amazing. Ask anything like, do you have the man shirt? The same question that we asked last time. Okay, it is telling, yes, I have a man shirt in my product list. It has a price of this. This is the email URL and all stuff. You can restrict it to ask any question. It will tell you according to that. So see the magic here, ask as many questions as you want and it will pick all that information from here, right? So if you can ask any question which is not present here, it will never tell you the answer. It will say that I don't know, right? So you can also customize these things. Let's say if the user doesn't know any question, then how you can play with that? You need to pass that instructions here in that document and it will be trained on top of it. So this is amazing. I hope you love it and we are finished. Yes, we're finished and this is all the end product we need. So in this way we can train any chatbot, and so this is just for the e-commerce store. So like any e-commerce store can do that and can update his products from database, can connect their database with it, and then directly the chat gpt will store the chunks and all stuff based on that, send that chunk to chat gpt and it will process the chunk and response, send the response back. So this is how the things will work, and try it out. I hope you love it. Okay, so now there is one further next part is like how you can use the same technique for building another chatbot. So let's talk about it. So maybe one question is coming in your mind like how we can like convert that our chatbot for the hotels dataset. Let's say I want that my chatbot should respond based on the user question and process my hotels data, suggest user hotels. Like if user say that I have $1,000 and I want to stay for 5 days, recommend me some hotels. So how chatbot can do that? So it's again a very simple trick. You just need to update this data. That's it. The rest of the code is same. So if you convert that to for the hotels data, now it will start behaving for the hotels data. So I think we should give it a try as well. So if you want, and so it's so simple. I think we don't need to give it a try. So just update this data for the hotels. Go to ChatGPT, generate some data, and it will do for you. So this is all that you need, and this is a way to build any kind of chatbot. And I hope you love it. And let me know if you have any question. I will provide you that all code, even my this dummy data, and whatever is necessary. Upload it to GitHub as well, so that you can access it. So build different kind of chatbots through this. So before that, I think one thing is still left, which is the deployment part. Definitely you need it, because you need to deploy it into AWS server or anywhere in EC2 instance. So for localhost, this is how you can run it, but now we need to move to the server stuff. So to do that, so let's jump into it and see how we can go to the AWS and create an EC2 instance there and create our backend API there. So just like this is our API, HTTP to one this one. So let's say you cannot access this API, because if I give you, right, if I give you that line, this API, so if you try to run in your application, you will not run it because it is running on my computer, my server. I am having local server right now. So if you want that your application will be accepted globally, and you definitely need to deploy your this complete backend to some server, and it will give you a kind of a API, a kind of an endpoint, something like this with different IP address, and based on that, we like this thing will be the same right now here basically, and rest our endpoints will be the same. So we just need to change our kitchen right, and and then after that we can access any product, any food from that. And for that, let's move into the AWS server and let's try to deploy our Flask backend and create an API. And then we don't need this thing, this complete code. We can close that server from here. Then we just need this URL, and then we can call our application there. And then we can also deploy our this complete front-end application as well. So let's see this demo further, and I will tell you how to do it. Thank you. So let's talk about how you can deploy your Flask application, this API, into the cloud server like AWS. So we are going to use AWS, and I wrote some simple guide like how we can do that. So we are going to follow step by step, and I will share with you this all. Don't worry. So first go to your browser and log into your AWS server. So I already logged in. So you need to create your account. If you do not have, then connect your credit card or bank details with it. Definitely it will charge you as well. But the reason is that after learning this, you can turn off the server. But if you already have it, then follow the process. This is a very important skill set, and if you're really going to the market in freelancing or even in industry, so definitely they're definitely going to ask you like, do you know how to deploy the Flask server, Flask backend? So these skills will going to help you. So for that, just simply come here, type here EC2. Amazon have a service named as EC2. So basically these are kind of instances which you can use like to create your server, Ubuntu server in the backend. So by the way, I'm doing for this AWS. So if you have any kind of another server, doesn't matter, you are working on Microsoft Azure, GCP, Google Cloud Platform, DigitalOcean, anywhere which runs the Ubuntu server, so you can follow the same approach. It works for all, right? So to do that, after coming here, you can just simply click on launch instance. Let's say click here. So give it a name. In my case, I can name it like AI chatbot, any name. So, and after that, you need to come up here, click on Ubuntu because we're going to use Ubuntu server. So make it free trial eligible. That is true. Everything is set free trial eligible. By the way, it will run free for the first year for you if you are creating new account. Here you need to download Keepair basically. So you need to click on create. This will help you to access your server through your terminal, because we are going to upload some different files into, our file is app.py, which is our backend. We need to upload through some our local system. So this will help you to create. I will tell you right now, just to follow the process. Name it anything, let's say AI chatbot, right? And make it .pem or say intro, create keep here. Okay, our key is downloaded. Go below and just allow them all. Okay, and after that, go below and then make it so you can allot maximum 30 GB, so it's fine in your free variant. Where it's gone, I'm sorry. So you can allot it 30 GB maximum, so I will make it 25 by the way. So after that, you don't need to change any other details, no need for that. um, you already done your network settings, it's all done. Anywhere, that is true. So anywhere can access your application in the world. So I'm going to create one instance, click on launch instance, that's it. So give it a moment to create instance for you. Okay, so after that, click here and then so so here is our instance. Click here and then see, you can see all the details like public IP address. So let's say if you try to open this address, so what will happen? I think nothing will come because we didn't set it. This is public, this is private. So basically with this address we will try to access our application right now. So nothing will come because we can't access our application. By the way, leave it. So we need, this is our basically public IP address. This is how, this is our basically address, like just like we used here in our HTML code, JavaScript. This one up to this point, like this. This complete is our that address, and this is our main public server URL, and this is going to like we configure. So to do that, like just simply copy this public IP address and go to your terminal. Type here terminal. If you're Windows, open your command prompt. So forget about this step that I'm doing. So just simply you need to go to that folder where you downloaded that PAM file. You know, this file, key value pair. You need to go to that folder. Right now it's in my downloads folder. I'm here. So now you need to connect your Amazon server through terminal. Just type ssh-i and the name of the PAM file, which is ahadmin.pam. And here you need to pass your username. By default, Amazon have this AWS server. This has Ubuntu username. You also need to type this if you did not configure it. And just type your IP address that we copied and hit enter. So right here, yes. So it will not connect it. It is saying that permission denied. So to do that, we are getting this error like unprotected private key file. So to resolve this issue, we can go back to ChatGPT, of course. Come up here and click here, unprotected private key warning. Just copy that. Even you can copy this complete thing. Copy it and go to ChatGPT and ask it. And ask it like, I am getting this error while connecting to AWS EC2 instance through my terminal. So basically, I know what's the issue, but I am just telling you how you can configure it, like how you are getting the error and how you can search it and fix it. So it is saying that look at your private key file. Okay, we already have it. So it will give us some command. Yes, that is true. Just try it out. Like just copy this code and then come up here, paste it, and then also pass it your PAM file, enter it. Now it will give us permission to run this, hopefully. So now we are entered. So leave ChatGPT now. By the way, it is still running. You can stop it. Okay, so now we are entered into our server. So now we can play our instance that we just created. So the first step is like I created a guide here. The first thing that you need to do is create an we done it, open terminal, done it, and now this is the step. Just do that or do this, whichever work for you. Copy it and paste it. This will update all the packages in that server, right? And the next step is just install Python in the server, Python 3. Wait a moment. Let me even make it a bigger for you for better understanding. Okay, so install the Python, hit enter. It's already installed. Just install the pip version, hit enter, click yes. So wait a moment, and meanwhile copy this. For this you need to install the packages. If you remember, this is our code and we need to install all these packages, right, in order to run that code. So just copy that and open your terminal. Wait a moment. So hit enter here. So maybe in your case you are not seeing these things, but keep going like that. So now the next step is to, what was the next step? To install the packages. So first you need to type sudo for like admin permissions and then paste the code that we just did it. Hit enter. So give it a moment to run it. So okay, by the way, there is one thing that we need to do is this is like if we go back, we are running our server on port 8000. So there is an AWS, like we need to define that rules like we are along this port so that the server will know and accept traffic from there. So to do that, you need to go to the security and you need to go to Where are these? Let's say these are inbound rules and outbound rules. So you need to change your inbound rules, uh, I guess. And so how you can change it basically? Just click here. Save it. So click here inbound rules, and then there is that edit inbound rules. So here you need to add a rule. So here we already did that, while creating a instance, we told that we are accepting HTTP, HTTPS, and SSH. We did that. SSH means accessing your um, instance through terminal. We already did that. Create a rule, and then click on, what is that, man? Done it. Okay, click here. I think we need to do custom TCP, and here we need to type the port that we are allowing, 8000. Click here and then allow the public. This means that any IP address can access this port in the world, right? So you can write here that anything not necessary. So you also need to assign the same the browsing port, and also did that through this, like both IPv4 IPv6 addresses. You need to allow them, and then you just need to save these roles. This is all. Now our server will accept these things. What to say, port 8000. So where we left is like, so the next step is, let's see our packages are installed or not. It's installed. Now we just copy it and install nginx server. This is important to run our application on publicly. So hit enter, click yes, go further and also copy it. This is also needed for us to run our server publicly. Okay, so this is I think last step to install things. Hit yes. Okay, hit enter. Okay, what is next is make directory. So now we will create a new directory. You can write here any name, make directory, and then go to that directory, cd, change to your directory, cd, and go to that. Now we're in Flask app. So now we need to upload our this code, which is app.py, complete code, because we created our API and all stuff. So we just need to our like copy that code, basically not copy, upload this file. So to upload the file, we cannot upload our file on this terminal. To do that, you need to take help of some third-party software. Right now, I'm using the FileZilla. There are many others. You can go to Google and download the FileZilla client, FileZilla server, but not the client, basically FileZilla server. Go to Google basically and type here FileZilla server download. If you are using Mac, then type Mac. You want to whatever, so type here. So you can click here. If you're on Windows, you can download here. After downloading, you will see something like this, basically like this. If I cancel that, so this is how, this is the first screen you will see. So now we need to connect our server. Click here, this one, and click on the new site, basically this one, and then click here, and then go to the SFTP, SSH file transfer protocol. Yes, because we're accessing our server through terminal. This is another kind, basically just like we connected here, same like we connect here. But this is a kind of a UI interface, but this is a kind of a terminal thing. So next you need to type your host. Host basically is your public IP address. Like, where is that? You go to details section. This is your public IP. So come up here, paste it. Okay, next is that you need to use your key file for connecting. And what was our username? If you remember, our username is Ubuntu. And what is our PEM file, key file basically? You just need to load it here and just click connect. Okay, click on this always trust. Okay, wait a moment. So now we entered into our server, and this is the Flask app that we just created through terminal. directory, this directory. So now we can open that directory. It should be empty, and yes, it's empty. So even if we type here in terminal ls, we will see nothing come up. So there is not any file in it. So just upload this file, this app.py, and then app.py, upload it here. So and see. So our file is uploaded. Now let's type ls. Now this time you can see our file is there. So see what are the next instructions. Next is that it is saying try to run this file. I will copy that code and try it. So let's try to run this file, whether is there any error or not. So just first check it. Okay, so we are getting one error. It is saying that no module named pdf to image. So just install it. Very simple. Sudo pip install pdf to image. So basically this library used to extract our content of the uh, pdf file. I know some of this library may be using in the backend, this library, maybe this one. So I think I should also add that in the code, like here, so that you don't face this issue. Okay, so now let's try to run it again, this one, and see. Okay, we're getting another error, pdf minor, and again install it. So same like above way, just like this, pdf minor, and see. So basically these are some dependencies, maybe like some of the libraries using, maybe this one, I think, hopefully. So it's installed. Now again try to run your code, run your server. Oh man, why we are getting these errors? So let me fix them and I will get back to you. So I fixed the error. I just like simply copied that complete error like this up to this point, and then I up to this basically. So I then just went to the ChatGPT and then I passed that error to it, and ChatGPT told me that there is an issue with PDF miner. You need to upgrade this. So I just copied that code, and like here you can see this one. So I just copied it and hit enter, so it updated my package. So then I tried to run my app, so on my server, so it is running perfectly on port 8000, just like it ran on my local machine. So let me even show you. Oh, I'm sorry. So just like type here python 3 app.py. So you can see it is running perfectly. So here you go, it is running on port 8000. Okay, so up to this point, if you still go to your public IP, this one, if you try to open here, let's see what happens. So right now you are seeing only this server, but there is not our actual app that we need right now. By the way, this with this URL we can't able to access our app. So but with this URL we can use in our front-end app, like here. So right now I'm just telling you how you can be sure that your server is live. So for now, by the way, I even tried to figure out through GitHub, but nothing worked. So I'll leave it that error previous. Okay, so where we were is like, okay, we uploaded our app, this step is done, go to that instructions. Now just copy this code and close the server, control C, and then paste your this code, hit enter. Okay, so now what you need to do is paste the below code, and remember it should be port 80. Okay, so you need to copy this code, and for this you need to change your public IP here. So what was our public IP? This was our public IP. Go here and just paste here. And after that you need to be make sure it should be 8000. Why? Because in our server we are using the port 8000, this one. So whatever your port is here, just type here. So if you're not writing any port here, I think by default Flask has 5000 port. So also you need to customize here, and also you need to go to inbound rules and update it. So I already done that, and so I just need to copy that, come up here and paste it here, control V or command V. So now you need to press okay. Here is one another thing. If you are going to connect your actual domain with it, let's say if you have any domain, let's say api.talha.com, whatever your domain is, so you also need to write your domain here, just like this basically. uh, api dot yourdomain.com, something like that. Or maybe you also type here https, it's up to you, but it's better to just write like that way. Okay, so by the way, we do not have any domain right now, so right now we're just doing that. We just want to access through our IP address, so we pasted it. Now hit Control X, hit Y, hit enter. Okay, so now we performed our configuration here, and next step is that you need to restart your nginx server. Just copy this and paste it here. Okay, our service is restarted, and you need to go to this, type here, hit enter. So now it is running, our server is live now. To do that, okay, you can see first time when it will run it, the API will run it. Before that it will download our dataset, convert into chunks and convert to vector store. So I think it already done that. So now you need to go to your, now just refresh the page. So you can see now it is saying not found, definitely because this is not our front-end app. So now it's our API is live, right? So just copy this, go to your front-end app. Okay, this is a project, so just paste it here. All right, just save it. And this is not needed. You can see my terminal is not running, not server is not running locally. So just go to your index.html file and just double click to run it. So we are here. So just type any question, hi, anything, just send it. You see, our server is running. This is so amazing. And you can see it is also printing in the console this message. So I hope you are getting it. So this is now this running on publicly. I can ask any question. Do you have any shirt in red color? So you can see it is asking, yes, I have this in red color. So this also responds here as well. So amazing. So right now our server is live, and but this front-end app is not live. We can also make it live through similar fashion, but it's a little bit different way. So it's not needed right now. So the main thing is that how you can deploy your chatbot backend into the server and do that stuff. So this way you can, if you're building your mobile app, you can deploy your server through any AWS, DigitalOcean, GCP, Azure, wherever you want, through the similar fashion, just following these instructions, right? And there is one thing that is left is, which is this code. So right now it is running only like when this terminal will be open, it will run only for that. So if I just close this, Control C, so then my server is stopped. To run it permanently, you need to paste this code and then hit enter. Now our server is running permanently. Okay, so this is all. And let's say in future, if you like it's all done, to be honest. So let's say if you update your app.py file, if you make any changes in your code, so what you need to do is you just need to go to your this filezilla and just drag and drop the file and replace that file with your updated code. And then you need to also make some changes in your terminal. So log in with your terminal and like access your server. And then you need to do is you just need to restart it. Just copy this code, paste it here. So this will tell you all the ports opened and all stuff. So this is the, like, first you just need to copy this, right, and just kill this port. Okay, so just kill this and hit enter. So now your port is so once it's killed, then you just need to restart your nginx server again. So then you just need to copy this and to run it permanently, and that's it. So this way you can update your file and update the server. So this is all, and I hope you learned something valuable. And with these approaches, you can build your own chatbot, and you can build any chatbot no matter what's the domain is. So this is the perfect approach. So there are many some other ways, and you also learned how to deploy it and all stuff. But if you learn that skill, and I trust me, so you can make thousands of dollars even in the industry and even going to the freelancing world, because personally I made them and still making. So and one thing I promised you, I will also tell you some other ways, like how you can achieve some other applications that I showed you in the start. Let's say if you want to um, build some applications, let's say related to the what to say, related to anything. Let's say it can be related to ad tech system, it can be related to the content generation system. So you can do that, but for that you need to pause your code. So I think I can show you that quickly. So if I have that project, so I just show you that code, that how I achieved it. So by the way, I will change my API key after that course, after that video. So to do that, I just did that. I showed you one project where I did the story generation for the kids. So how I did that time. So it's again very simple. So I just created an API like this, and I get a question from the user that what kind of story the user wants, all his information, and then I pass that information to I like created that prompt, generate a story for the kids based on below parameters. So these parameters are coming from front end side. Let's say the user is planning to generate story for the 5 years age of kid. So what is the story about, what its gene and all stuff. So that information coming from front end side. So I will also add a screenshot here, like, so how it works. And then there is a function that I wrote, and it will send that prompt. So in this case there is no embedding and all kind of stuff, so it directly exactly that prompt is going to ChatGPT. So I'm using this thing. So for that, I told it to not generate more than 1,000 tokens, and then he paused it the prompt and then the model name, and it processed it and give me the response back, and then I get that story. So right now I was just returning the first two lines of the story in the backend. Okay, so if you can remove this code, let's say just comment this. So what will happen is whatever the response will come, it will send the complete story. Okay, so this is how you can make applications like that. And same when I did that for story for the course generator. So I did also the same. The user sent that I want to study the course, let's say the uh, digital marketing. So I just write here a prompt that please create a course content for that, what to say, for that course. I just pass that prompt here and pass the course name, so it will exactly ChatGPT generated for me a course content. So based on that I get that content and send back to front end, and even saved in the databases, so all stuff. So this is how you can create applications like these as well, using this, just like with this function here. You don't need to learn the concept of embeddings. So this is another way to take help, just like I showed you at tech for education related chatbot, where you can ask any question and related to any subject. So ChatGPT will understand it and respond back. So here I also use some similar prompt, like please give the answer of this question in a beautiful format for a student so that it can understand better. So the ChatGPT generated it for me, and I send it back. So see, it's so simple. With just, you can trust me, just 43 lines of code, and even some code are like empty lines. Okay, so this is how it works, and I hope you literally love this complete course, and I am sure you will definitely love it. So if you have any question, and if you want to learn something new, and I am definitely coming up with very new different creative ideas, and I will definitely create new chatbots with using these similar techniques, and I will show you that how I am using these similar techniques and building a chatbot for different use cases. Okay, so you can build any chatbot for investment planner, all stuff using this technique, build any chatbot through that. So So this is all about, and I told you different ways. I told you the bonus, I told you the deployment, I told you development. I think everything is covered. I told you how to create API, how to connect with front end. All stuff is clear. So feel free to let me know if you have any questions, and so then see you in the next one. Thank you.